Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the red hot Las Vegas Raiders. I called it a couple of weeks ago. This team will win out and they will make the playoffs. They will finish 10-7. They have such a favorable schedule coming up. You play the Rams, who are suffering. You play New England. You play Pittsburgh. You play San Francisco, who just lost Jimmy G for the entire season, unfortunately. So that's 4 straight wins where you're projected to win all 4 games. Finish the season off against Kansas City. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's a cakewalk. But the Raiders, after starting their season 2-7, they are 2 games out from the wild card and making the playoffs. It's absolutely crazy, and it's such a cool story. The tide has turned, baby. Momentum is back on their side. I don't care who they are winning. Oh, they beat Denver. Denver sucks. Okay. They beat Seattle. They gave up 34 to Seattle. Seattle's a playoff team. Oh, the Chargers are overrated. Oh, now all of a sudden the Chargers are overrated, right? So 5-7. I was watching every possible football station today. Nobody was talking about the Raiders. There was not a single network talking about the Las Vegas Raiders sitting at 5-7 with one of the most explosive offenses in the entire NFL. The offensive line is clicking. Josh Jacobs is a Pro Bowler. Devontae Adams is the best receiver in the NFL. You are getting Darren Waller back. You are getting Hunter Renfrow back, whether it's on Thursday to play the Rams or it's the week after to play New England. They're getting healthy, and they are rolling. So before we get any further into this video, if you guys enjoy it, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Raider Nation, you guys are so awesome. The fan base is literally awesome. All right, let's try and get this video to 250 likes. That would be absolutely awesome. That's way too many times we've said that word. So let's get into it. All right, 27-20. It was not a pretty. Who said it had to be pretty? The outcome was pretty, right? 27-20. Now, as much as I like to make fun of Justin Herbert, as much as I think the Chargers are an overrated football team, they're still a coherent group, right? They still have a good offense. Justin Herbert can still make the throws he needs to make. I just think he's a little overrated, right? Doesn't mean he's not good. Doesn't mean he's not talented. I just think he's a little overrated. When we take a look at this Raiders team, man, they are rolling on both sides of the ball. I know it's just 2 weeks ago they gave up 34 to Seattle, but to me what it's going to come down to, if this team wants to run the table, win out like they did last season, right? Raiders fans know this. I don't know if the NFL knows this because it still wasn't really talked about last year. Guys, they fired their head coach mid-season. They won their final 4 football games and lost to the eventual team that made the Super Bowl, the Cincinnati Bengals, and it was a close 1-possession game. So, yes, has Derek Carr technically never won a playoff game? Yeah, technically, right? Are they in the first year, Josh McDaniels? Do they have a bottom half defense? Yes, technically, all these things. But I don't care about the past, man. I don't care that they lost 24-0 to the Saints. I don't care that they got embarrassed by Jacksonville and Indianapolis in the second half. I don't care how many close games they've lost. This isn't the past. We're talking about the present. We're talking about the future now. This team has figured out how to win. You're limiting turnovers. You are running down opponent defenses' throats. Josh Jacobs on the season has 1,303 yards. He's averaging 5.4 yards per carry. He has 10 rushing touchdowns, and he's averaging just under 110 rushing yards per game. Josh Jacobs is one of the most slept-on running backs in the entire National Football League, right? 4th-year guy out of Alabama. They didn't pick up his option, so he's looking poised for a big payday, and I hope and I really think that the Raiders will pay him because they should. He's a stud. He's having one of the most underrated running back seasons in the entire league. I mean, he is just a bulldozer. 2 weeks ago against Seattle, who has a phenomenal front seven. Like the Seahawks, they don't get credit for some reason, and I think it's because Geno Smith is their quarterback. Geno Smith's having an MVP-like season. To go into Seattle, right? You're going to Seattle. You're not home in Vegas. You're going to Seattle, one of the most difficult places to play. Literally. Yes, gave up 34 points. They started that game so dicey. You know, there was an interception, Derek Carr, first drive of the game, first throw of the game. It didn't start great. It wasn't the prettiest game, just like the Chargers win, just like the Denver win. But what's the common theme that we've seen in all those games. Well, they won. So there's not going to be pictures on this. There's not going to be pictures of your win-loss record once the season is over. It's going to be a win or lose. And I guarantee you, man, if this Raiders team had changed one of their losses into a win, whether it was at the start of the season, first game against the Chargers, or if it was against Kansas City, or if it was against Jacksonville, Indianapolis, whoever it was, I guarantee you if the Vegas Raiders, one game was switched and they were 6-6, teams would not be wanting to play. And their biggest knock has been defense. And it's for a good reason. We have their stat right here. They are not a great defensive team this season. Patrick Graham's philosophy, it's very complicated. It requires a lot of depth. They've been banged up. They've been getting healthy on both sides of the ball, but they're giving up just under 25 points per game. That's good for 26th in the league. All right. Well, this past week, 20 points. Like I said, I know you gave up 34 to Seattle. I understand. Geno Smith, the Seahawks offense, their defense, it's a really good football team. They are a playoff team. All right. The Chargers, Justin Herbert, Eckler, like they have plenty on offense. Holding them to 20, I think it's going to be a big thing. I think that's going to keep this momentum going because if we go back a couple weeks ago to Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos, they only scored 16 points. But I understand, Denver's having a just completely desperate football season, so I get it. I understand it, but all the defense needs to do, to be honest with you, is hold the opponents to somewhere between 20 to 25. I know they're giving up 25 right now and they're sitting at 5-7, but the offense, it took a while for this offense to find its groove. I mean, specifically, it took until like a couple of weeks ago. They're still finding their way. Their offensive line can be inconsistent at times, but if you saw the way this offensive line started the season, look, as opposed to how they're playing right now, it's worldly different. Derek Carr has been doing what he needs to do. I understand some people think he's mediocre. Other people think he's a Hall of Famer. I get it. It's somewhere in the middle. He's not a great quarterback, but he's a good quarterback. That's my take on it. He can still get you to the playoff. He can still win you football games. I think he can definitely win playoff games. I think he could win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Raiders are going to do that this year. But what I am saying is against the Rams, New England, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Kansas City, this team will have a chance to win all 5 of those games. And I think what it's going to come down to is the defense getting stops, making adjustments. Patrick Graham and this defense making adjustments, making plays. Guys like Chandler Jones, who wasn't having a horrible season. It was definitely not what you paid him for. It was not what you were hoping for. He was not exceeding expectations, but it wasn't that bad. 3 sacks this past week. That's a huge deal. That is a very big deal. So this defensive line's getting pressure. They're hitting the quarterback. They're getting to him. They're just not making it easy. So I think this offense, the 9th ranked offense in the NFL right now, I think they're going to put up somewhere between 25 to 30 for the entire rest of the season. So if defensively you can hold these guys to 20 to 25, I genuinely think this team will and can win out. Even if you disagree with the will part, I think a lot of you guys would agree, especially Raiders fans, Raider Nation. Let me know what you guys are thinking. This team is capable of winning their next 5 and making the playoffs. I'm just saying. So hit that like button, hit that sub button if you guys want more. Let me know what you guys are thinking down below. 5-7. Is this Raider team going to make the playoff? Drop a comment, hit that like button. Let's get to 250, and I'll catch you guys later.